I'm interested to hear how's the UFC podcast going with Matt Serra?
It's fun, man. It's like I love doing it with. It was a weird. I got a phone call.
How did it come about? Yeah, please.
Dana had said to me years ago, and I kind of remember when it was because on Opie and Anthony we were doing Satellite and we were doing K-Rock, so it's probably around 2008, and I was worried I was going to get fired from K-Rock, and I was in a really bad way. And I get this random call from Dana. He asked me how much I was making, and I told him. He's like, "How much would it cost to steal you from them?" And I told him, and he goes, and we talked about something. He goes, "We're going to work together someday. We're going to do something. We're going to have you do something with the UFC." And I was like, I was like, all right. And it never came about. Nothing ever happened. I saw him over the years.
You thought he was going to want you to fight CM Punk or some shit?
I was hoping it would be something like that. Something I had a shot at.
We're going to work together. Calls you. Here's my idea. You fight CM Punk. Not what I was thinking, but okay. Yeah, go ahead.
But I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know if it would be. I know it's like I can't broadcast. I can't do play-by-play. I knew it would be nothing like that. I just didn't know what it would be. I get another random call. Matt Serra I knew casually. Like we would speak at events. We would talk. He's a great guy. We had him on the radio show once or twice. And I'm on the road, and I get a call from Dana. And he's like, "Hey, man." And he's like, "Hey," he goes, "How'd you like to do the podcast with Matt Serra?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We're doing a UFC podcast. We got Matt. He told me the money." He's like, "This is the money. Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, let me just see if I can do it." Because I had a contract with Sirius, and I had to know, am I allowed to do something? But years before, because they're territorial. You sign for Satellite, they want you only there. But I had put something in my contract that had said if I ever do the only podcast I can do is an MMA thing, because I had this weird thing. I had that put into my contract because our first series said no, you can't do it, and then we went back and reminded them, and they looked at it and they go, "Wow, that was pretty slick that you put that in." That was probably 2 contracts ago. We put in that I could do an MMA thing. Thinking it would never come, but it was like
just
a
to be
stupid
safe,
thing.
I'm tossing that MMA thing.
Throw it in.
Okay.
Because they won't let me do a Jim Norton podcast. I can't do my own because I'm on with Sam. So that was how I was allowed to do it. And then we just started doing it. I mean, Matt and I just started talking. It's fun to do because I love it so much. I'm such a fan. I'm just a fucking fanboy.
Yeah.
And Matt's such a personality and a great guy. When I heard Matt was on there, I mean, he's a guy who has been there, and then he also has this huge personality.
He's the technical. He knows so much more about the sport. I love the sport. I would interview the fighters. I love the fighters. I enjoy talking to them. I would get them to show me. Like, I was always in awe of the fact that guys take these hits and keep fighting. Like, to me, what does it feel like to have an arm bar put on you? I'd never taken jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So the first time we interviewed BJ Penn on the radio show, it was right after he lost the title, and he was all bruised up in sunglasses. So I happened to ask him, I'm like, "Could you show me what that feels like on a 1% level? Just want to see what it feels like to have that, to be held like that." And he sat in his chair, he just threw his legs around me, and and again, he didn't put pressure. But I'm like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, you get pulled from 2 different directions. Like, I had no idea it hurt that immediately that much.
Every man should feel that. Every man, in my opinion, not every man, but it would do a lot of men good to know just exactly how vulnerable they really are. Like, especially you roll with a good jiu-jitsu guy, forget high level, just a good guy. You realize just how easy it would be for them to do whatever they want. Basically kill you, by the way.
That's break my genetic competition.
So break your arms, choke you unconscious, and then take it another level and stand with somebody who can really punch and kick, and you can't, and they're moving out of the way. Like, just joking around with the giant to my left, we had gloves on, we were playing around, and I kind of like was kind of siding up with him, and I was kind of, throwing punches, and he dipped and he touched me to the side and then came over with his right the way like you would with, and I went, "Oh my, your fucking arms are so long. Oh my God."
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. I'm used to fighting fighting.
Yeah.
I'm used to moving around with non-athletes, and I went, it's so humbling and such a different level.
It's a different world to live in. But again, I want to take jiu-jitsu. Matt took me down to Renzo's like probably 2 weeks ago. Mike, I have sleep apnea, so I'm always tired. I've just been bitching about my tire, but I'm going to take it just because I want to experience it. Like, I'm never going to be a great fighter, but I just want to take it for health reasons.
You should.
And just for experience.
Just to experience it.
From point of view and the perspective.
Yes.
And you couldn't be in a better gym than Renzo's, man.
That's what Joe was telling me yesterday.
Have you met Renzo?
No, he wasn't there. Matt, when I'm out, like I missed the last 2 because I'm out here doing this. Matt will bring in Renzo, or he'll bring in
one of the best human beings ever.
Everyone loves him.
He should.
One
I
of
mean,
the best human beings alive.
Not that he needs it, but he should have his own podcast.
Yeah.
His stories are.
Well, he's
ridiculous.
brilliant. Like Renzo has
He's an artist.
He's an artist. He's truly brilliant, and he truly loves people, and he is a master at what he does, but also a master
teacher. The first time I met him, I was getting ready to fight Crow Cop, and we flew down there for a camp, and my Professor Malisa knew him, and we go down there, and within 30 minutes, if I would have laid my life down on the line for the guy, I felt like I knew him my entire life.
I know that's
he's like, come here, hug me. Then went over things. When I was doing Metamorph, I went to him.
Yeah,
and I was so nervous because I was fighting Cyborg. He's this monster, and I went to Renzo, and he just starts explaining stuff. He's like, he's gonna do this, my friend, and doing that. I'm like, yeah, that looks so easy. All right, I felt it wasn't, but it's Renzo. Man.
He is a true leader.
Literally, I feel like I call him right now. I'm like, Renzo, dude, I lost my house, man. I need whatever, and like, you got it.
Yeah,
you know?
he's a leader. He's always been like, he's a true leader, and I like that kind of charisma. And think about this. Renzo was a guy when I was training there, when Matt was a brown belt. This is how long ago it was. And Renzo English was definitely not his first language. You're talking about a guy speaking another language. And in that context, from another country, hilarious, a leader, would speak and tell stories, and everybody would hang on him. And it wasn't just because he was the best guy in the room at jiu-jitsu. It was what he's about.
It's captivating.
Yeah, and he was also a great businessman.
Right.
He's just an amazingly well-rounded.
He'd be successful. You could drop him in Japan.
He's
drop him in Africa. He'd figure it out.
Some guys just have that weird energy. It's like you see Apocalypse Now, when he's like, some guys just have that light around them, like they weren't going to get a scratch and be getting on.
Well,
some guys just have that thing around them.
That was Robert Duvall.
Right? Yeah, and Martin Sheen said
bombs
that
going
about him.
off, and he wouldn't. That based on a couple. They say that there are guys like that, who would walk around, shit would be blowing up, and they wouldn't be taking cover. They just believed that they had some,
something different.
A gasoline smell. A smell, a gasoline smell all over the hill.